Red meat sector, it's a key plank of our economy. It's got a lot of players in it, from not just the farmers, but government agencies and meat processors and banks and professional entities that support it. Denise is going to tell us about a 5-year initiative that has achieved as its aspiration significant productivity gains for our whole country.
Yeah.
No small undertaking.
That sounds quite good when you say it like that, Phil. So thank you very much, and thanks for the opportunity to talk about this at this breakfast and celebrate some learning that we've had and be able to share it. RMPP, Red Meat Profit Partnership, is a primary growth partnership program. We were set up back in 2013, and as it says there, our aim was to help the red meat sector sustainably increase productivity and profitability. And we were supposed to end in September this year, but a little thing called COVID happened and we got a 6-month extension. So that's quite nice. We've got until March next year to finish up the program. And I'm part of the extension team within Red Meat Profit Partnership, and now I'm within Beef and Lamb New Zealand because they picked up the extension team and put it into Beef and Lamb New Zealand as one of the partners to be able to transition at the end of the program. So I'm going to pause because I'm going to be talking about this idea of extension a bit. And I thought, I know what extension is because I work in it, but what is extension? What do I mean? So, quick multiple choice quiz. Hands up as I read out an answer that you go and go, yep, that's extension. Okay. So, A, home renovations, and maybe in a rural area because it's about farming, right? Yep. Yeah. Anyone for that one? No. A ladder, power cords. You know, you have an extension ladder, power extension cord. No. Yeah. So a couple of people. Yep. Outreach advisory services. Oh, nice. Yep. And then I last night realised I'm talking to a whole lot of learning and development people. I didn't check this question as a good multiple choice question. So that's me. But yes, extension is a tool for facilitating change on farm. There's a whole different ways we do that. But the key is that extension is about getting change. You don't do extension, you don't run an extension program unless you want to change something. And so for us, it was about trying to get that change amongst farmers to increase productivity and profitability, but do that sustainably. And so we did a whole lot of research and work to kind of explore what was needed in that extension space. We looked across the whole range of activities that was happening. And, you know, there's a whole lot of stuff happening in that marketing, direct media, you know, mass kind of communication, large events like field days. We had mid-size events like, you know, specialised workshops to learn particular skills. There's some stuff happening in small groups and then one-on-one. But what we realised, although there was some really cool stuff happening in those 3 spaces to the left and some great people doing one-on-one work. So, you know, I think of Beef and Lamb, we do a whole lot of really cool stuff in that field day space, all of that kind of, you know, mass communication. And there's some great people. You think about bankers, accountants, stock reps, fertilizer reps, you know, farm consultants. There's a whole lot of people out there. But that small group space, we kind of felt, not that there wasn't anything happening, but we could have an impact there and run a really good extension program. And so that's when Action Network was born. We launched it back at the end of 2017. And Action Network is basically small group-based extension. We seed fund, RMPP seed funds, small groups of sheep and beef farmers to pay for a facilitator and the activities they run as a group, including any experts they want to bring in to learn from and that kind of thing. So there's a few key principles though in this. The first of all is it's small group. So we capped it at 7 to 9 farm businesses. So 7 to 9 farm businesses isn't individuals because we want the farm team to be involved. So you could have anything from 14 to 18 maybe, give or take, people in a small group. It's farmer-led, farmer-focused. So it's about what they want to do in their small group, the change that they want to focus on and learn. And we separated out that expert and facilitator role because this is about learning and we really wanted people to have that learning experience, draw from the wisdom of the group, as well as topping up with experts. It wasn't just about telling people, and that facilitator role is so crucial in that. And of course, it was about change. We wanted to see change in Action Network and action groups. And so we've ended up with over 215 small groups of sheep and beef farmers across New Zealand, doing everything from looking at improving their pasture management through to becoming better employers. So it's been pretty cool. And I could talk, like Julie, for a lot of time about Action Network and action groups. That's right, exactly, that's right. Almost, but I won't. I thought I'd just play a really short little clip from an action group in Taihape talking about their experience.
Every activity we've done, someone's learned something new that they've been able to take back to their farming business.
The sharing of knowledge between the different ages in our group's been hugely beneficial.
People are reasonably proactive in what they're trying to do and eager to learn, and it's been a good vibe to be in on.
Being involved in an action group has enabled us to focus in on aspects of our business where we maybe weren't as strong, and going through that together has really been brilliant.
Hand on heart, being involved in a small group has directly benefited my business.
There is a longer version of that video and others if you're interested on our website, with farmers talking about their experience. So so that's kind of the background and Action Network and action groups and extension and what I'm involved in. What I wanted now to focus on was the evaluation of how we've measured the impact of what we've done. And because that's kind of pretty crucial, especially when it comes to programs like this being funded and all of that kind of thing. So right from the start, we had an evaluation plan for what was needed. We used Bennett's hierarchy as the framework. So Bennett's hierarchy starts, it's basically a logic framework, starts at level 7 with the social, economic, environmental outcomes that you're kind of seeking, and goes right down here to levels 1, 2 and 3, the resources, activities and participants. This stuff is really easy to measure, doesn't tell you a lot about change, but you kind of move up that logic framework to evaluate. The Bennett's hierarchy has been around since the 70s, and it was designed for evaluation of extension programs, so hence why we used it. And we focused really heavily in on this level 5, increase or change in knowledge, attitude, skills and aspirations. So CARS a change, shorthand, because we felt that was the biggest thing that could be influenced in the small group, and that would lead on to practice change and the outcomes we were seeking. And so helped by Synapsis, Phil and the team, we used the evaluator tool to basically build a regime of 6 monthly surveys around that level 5 area. And that went out to all facilitators and farmers involved in action groups. And so this is some of the polar graphs out of the evaluator, and you can see around the outside, and this is actually the results from the group that you saw in the video. This is the Taihape group. So there were 4 dimensions that we were looking at: the facilitator role, the learning experience, the impact of Action Network, and the confidence to make changes in farm practice. And the wedges within the polar graph are all the elements that we were exploring within that dimension. So we have got a wealth of data, and it's just been really amazing. It's been incredibly helpful for 3 kind of areas. First of all, we were able to provide feedback to facilitators and farmers about how their group was going based on this data. We have been able to monitor the experience that farmers have been having to help us continually improve the program and make sure that we were supporting it well. And finally, because of this great wealth of data, we've been able to feed this into our overall evaluation. And yeah, that's just been amazing, because often you're making big assumptions and you don't have the data to back it up. So yeah, we feel that our overall evaluation has basically been just that bit more robust because of the wealth of data that we've been able to collect. So yeah, and just as an aside, what we have found is that on average, if you're a farming business involved in an action group, you are going to increase your farm business EBIT-RM per hectare per year by $24. So it's actually, yeah, it's pretty good. And the return on investment for the money put into Action Network is 26 to 1. So pretty significant. Cool. Yeah, and we're able to make those assumptions and those calculations based on this data. Yeah, so if you're interested in more of our approach and those kinds of things, one of the things we've also been doing is some e-learning modules, and Myri and the team did this one with us, and helped us with this one. This one is around small group learning. It's on the Beef and Lamb website if you're interested, and it's based on our experience with Action Network and Action Groups. And Synapsis and the team have worked with RMPP over the years we've been going to develop a whole lot of these e-learning modules. Most of them are farmer focused and focused on technical kind of areas. This one is obviously for people more in that extension space and interested in that small group based approach. But I'd recommend you have a little look at those, because that's been a really cool part of what we've been doing. So I've talked way too long, so I'm going to close by acknowledging the team. We are a small but great team of extension people within now Beef and Lamb, but work for RMPP. So that's the rest of my team. And I thought I'd just get you to turn to the person next to you and have a 30-second chat about what surprised you from what I said, or what stood out from you, and then we'll use that as a basis for any questions. So 30 seconds, go. Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
interested in how you've accounted the dollar ROI to the learning.
Yeah, so we've basically relied on that hierarchy, that Bennett's hierarchy framework to go, we're kind of rolling it all up. So we're seeing these changes, we expect that leads to this kind of, we're seeing these changes in knowledge, attitude, skills and aspirations. That's led to, and we've got some evidence of some of the practice changes that's resulted in. And so therefore we've been able to then model what that means for productivity and profitability, basically. So it's been modelled at that level 7, but it's based on the data we've collected at those lower levels. So, and we have triangulated as much as possible, because yeah, you look at that 26 to 1, you go, really? Seriously? There's a little video on our website that explains that overall impact evaluation, and it's worth having a look at because they kind of talk to that as well. So, yeah.
Have you linked that? Because obviously it'll be different for sheep and beef
Yep.
and for joint farms, and
Yep.
also the size of the enterprise as well.
Yes. Yeah, so we've made an overall impact statement. So that's an average farm, not that anyone's average. And we've got some case studies, basically. We've done some detailed case studies to kind of dig into what it might look like on particular types of farms. So that's been really useful as well. And if anything, the case studies that we've got say that we've underestimated the impact. So that's always a nice thing, because we want to do that. We don't want to don't want to be overly optimistic. Yeah. Good question. Oh, 1 minute, sorry. I'm like, oh, you've got a question, Emma.
I'm just kind of interested in I guess the people's comments about, you know, really good to talk to other farmers, and
Yeah.
Have you seen an ongoing benefit of kind of creating, I guess, that community of peer support?
Yeah, definitely. It's been like one of the biggest things that's particularly come out of the evaluator survey data, but also anecdotally through feedback, just, you know, being in touch with facilitators and groups. And it's what we get through in that evaluator data is things like, oh, I didn't realise other farmers had this problem. I can talk with them about this, and we've done some interviewing, detailed interviewing as well, and that comes out time and time again. It's really good because Phil and the team did get us to think through some of that, and we have got some resilience questions and wellbeing type questions in the evaluator tool, and so we were able to get some of that data, because we were kind of hoping that small group would build that, you know, peer-to-peer support, and yeah, the evidence is there basically that yes, it has, and that's huge given, you know, the things like mental health and suicide rates and things like that in the rural farming sectors. So yeah, can't underestimate that. Yeah. Cool.
So the evidence side is obviously striking in that presentation. I'm just wondering how much effort, time, resources go into making that happen.
Yeah, it's a really good question. There was a significant amount of upfront stuff, but because we had that plan, it did actually help us do it in a reasonably straightforward way. So like the surveys just tick over. So there is download, data analysis stuff. There is a bit of that, but it's kind of just as part of business as usual, our processes. So I'm not answering it particularly well in terms of exact amount of time, because it's just what we do. It's part of how we support the Action Network. So yeah, could dig into that more details later, but yeah, it's a good question.
Thank
Cool.
you so much.
No worries, cool.